The morning alarm buzzed through the small mining station at exactly 0600 hours. Hansol Kim rolled out of his narrow bunk and stretched his tired muscles. At 42 years old, he had been mining asteroids for over 15 years. His hands were rough and scarred from handling heavy equipment, but his eyes still held the sharp focus of a man who loved his work. A wet nose pushed against his palm, and Hansol smiled. Thunder was already awake, waiting patiently for their daily routine to begin. The dog was massive, nearly the size of a small pony, with thick black fur and intelligent amber eyes. Thunder was not like the dogs people remembered from old Earth. He was something special, something new. "Good morning, boy," Hansol said, scratching behind Thunder's ears. The dog's tail wagged once, a controlled motion that showed his training and intelligence. Thunder had been with Hansol for 8 years, now. The man remembered the day he found the puppy on Mars, locked in a dirty cage at an illegal breeding facility. The sellers called Thunder a space hound, genetically changed to work in the harsh conditions beyond Earth. His lungs could process thin air, his skin could handle radiation, and his brain was enhanced to solve complex problems. But what made Thunder truly special was his nose. The dog could smell things that machines missed. He could detect valuable metals buried deep in asteroid rock, dangerous gas leaks that sensors ignored, and even the emotional state of humans around him. Thunder had saved Hansol's life more times than either of them could count. The mining colony of New Busan stretched across 3 connected asteroids in the outer system. 2,000 people called it home, most of them miners and their families. The asteroids were rich with rare metals that Earth needed for building starships and space stations. It was dangerous work, but it paid well, and the people who lived here had chosen this life. Hansol and Thunder walked through the main corridor toward the dining hall. Other miners nodded and waved as they passed. Everyone knew the pair. Thunder was famous throughout the colony for his abilities, and Hansol was respected as one of the best prospectors in the system. "Morning, Hansol," called Park Ji-won from behind the food counter. She was the colony administrator, a smart woman in her 50s who kept everything running smoothly. "Taking Thunder out to Sector 7 today?" "That's the plan," Hansol replied, accepting a cup of coffee. "Thunder thinks there's something big out there. His nose has been twitching for 3 days. Thunder sat perfectly still beside Hansol, but his ears were alert, listening to every word. The dog understood more human speech than most people realized. Dr. Lee So-young, the colony's scientist, believed Thunder's enhanced brain could process language almost like a human child. As they ate breakfast, other miners shared stories of their recent finds. The work was going well. New Busan was one of the most successful mining operations in this part of space. The people here had built something good together, something worth protecting. After breakfast, Hansol and Thunder made their way to the equipment bay. Hansol pulled on his spacesuit while Thunder waited patiently. The dog did not need a suit like humans did. His enhanced body could survive in space for short periods, though he wore a small oxygen mask during long trips. "Ready for another day, partner?" Hansol asked as he checked his tools. Thunder's response was a soft whine and a gentle nudge against Hansol's leg. It was their language, built over years of working together. Hansol could read Thunder's moods and intentions as clearly as written words. They boarded their small mining ship, a sturdy vessel designed for one person and built to handle the rough work of asteroid mining. Thunder had his own seat, specially made for his large frame. As Hansol started the engines, Thunder settled in with the calm confidence of an experienced space traveler. The flight to Sector 7 took 30 minutes. Hansol piloted the ship between floating rocks and debris while Thunder watched through the front window. The dog's enhanced eyes could see things in space that human eyes missed. Sometimes he would bark softly to alert Hansol to obstacles or interesting formations. When they reached their destination, Hansol carefully landed on a medium-sized asteroid. The surface was rough and covered with the kind of rock that often held valuable metals. Thunder was already excited, his tail moving faster than usual. "Show me what you found, boy," Hansol said as they stepped onto the asteroid's surface. Thunder immediately began sniffing around the landing area. His nose worked like a sophisticated scanner, analyzing the chemical makeup of everything around them. Within minutes, he had found a spot that made him sit and point with his nose toward a section of rock. Hansol set up his drilling equipment at the spot Thunder had chosen. As the drill bit into the asteroid, samples of rock and dust fell into collection containers. Hansol examined the samples with his portable analyzer while Thunder watched with interest. "You did it again," Hansol said with amazement. The readings showed high concentrations of platinum and rare earth metals. "This is going to be a big one." Thunder's tail wagged proudly. He understood that he had done good work. For the next 4 hours, they worked together in perfect harmony. Hansol operated the heavy mining equipment while Thunder scouted for the best places to dig. The dog would disappear for 10 or 15 minutes at a time, exploring the asteroid's surface, then return to guide Hansol to new locations. By mid-afternoon, they had extracted enough valuable material to make the trip very profitable. Hansol was tired but happy as he loaded the last container into their ship. Thunder sat nearby, alert and watchful as always. "Not bad for a day's work," Hansol said, patting Thunder's head. "Command is going to be very pleased with this haul." As they prepared to return to New Busan, Hansol felt grateful for his life. He had good work, a loyal companion, and a place to call home among the stars. Thunder had made all of this possible, with his special abilities and unwavering friendship. Neither of them knew that their peaceful life was about to change forever. Somewhere in the darkness of space, alien ships were moving toward New Busan, carrying beings who saw the human colony not as a home, but as an obstacle to their own greedy plans. Thunder's enhanced senses caught something strange in the air as they flew home, but he could not identify what it meant. He pressed closer to Hansol in his seat, a gesture of protection that would soon prove more important than either of them could imagine. The bond between them had been forged over 8 years of shared dangers and triumphs. Soon, that bond would be tested in ways that would change everything they thought they knew about loyalty, love, and the power of the connection between human and dog. 3 weeks after Hansol and Thunder's successful mining trip, everything changed. The morning started like any other, but by noon, alien ships appeared on the edge of New Busan's sensor range. They were sleek, dark vessels that moved with purpose through the asteroid field. Park Ji-won called an emergency meeting in the main assembly hall. All 2,000 colonists gathered to hear the news. Hansol sat in the middle section with Thunder lying quietly at his feet. The dog sensed the tension in the room and stayed perfectly still. "The ships belong to the Valkyrie Syndicate," Park Ji-won announced, her voice steady but serious. "They are a business organization known for taking over human mining operations by force." Murmurs of worry spread through the crowd. Everyone had heard stories about the Valkyrie. They were tall aliens with hard shells covering their bodies and 4 arms that ended in sharp claws. They cared only about profit and had no respect for human rights. "What do they want?" called out Dong-hyun, one of the senior miners. "Our mines," Park Ji-won replied. "They claim we are mining in space that belongs to them. They want us to leave and give them all the metals we have extracted." The room erupted in angry voices. These people had worked for years to build New Busan. They had risked their lives mining dangerous asteroids and had earned everything they possessed through hard work and courage. "We will not abandon our home," Park Ji-won continued when the noise died down. "But we must be prepared. The Valkyrie do not make empty threats." Hansol felt Thunder's body tense beside him. The dog's enhanced senses were picking up emotional changes in the crowd. Thunder always became protective when he sensed that Hansol or their community was in danger. 2 days later, the first Valkyrie ship landed on New Busan's main asteroid. The aliens who emerged were even more frightening in person than in the stories. They stood 8 feet tall, with gleaming black shells that reflected the station lights. Their 4 arms moved independently, and their large compound eyes missed nothing. The leader introduced himself as Commander Vextal. His voice came through a translator device that made him sound cold and mechanical. Behind him stood his lieutenant, Sub-Commander Kel Nex, who carried a large plasma rifle and seemed eager to use it. "Humans of this illegal settlement, Commander," Vextal announced. You have 72 hours to collect your personal belongings and leave this system. All extracted materials and mining equipment will remain as compensation for your trespassing. Park Ji-won stepped forward bravely. We have legal mining rights granted by the Earth Colonial Authority. This system was unclaimed when we arrived, 5 years ago. Commander Vextal's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. Human law means nothing here. Velkari law is the only law that matters in this region of space. The aliens returned to their ship, but more Velkari vessels arrived each day. Soon there were 12 alien ships surrounding the 3 asteroids of New Busan. The colonists were trapped. When the 72-hour deadline passed and the humans refused to leave, the Velkari began their harassment campaign. They jammed communication, signals cut power to outer sections of the station, and sent armed patrols to interfere with mining operations. Hansol and Thunder continued their work despite the danger. The colony needed the income from mining to buy food and supplies, and Hansol refused to let alien bullies stop him from doing his job. Thunder seemed to understand the situation and stayed closer to Hansol than usual. The attacks escalated quickly. Velkari soldiers began targeting individual miners during their shifts, using hit-and-run tactics to create fear. They would appear, suddenly fire a few shots to damage equipment, then disappear before security could respond. Dr. Lee So-young treated several injured miners in the medical bay. The Velkari weapons caused burns that healed slowly and left permanent scars. It was clear the aliens wanted to cause maximum pain and terror. They are trying to break our spirit, Park Ji-won explained during another emergency meeting. They want us to become so afraid that we give up voluntarily. Hansol felt anger burning in his chest. These aliens had no right to destroy the life he and Thunder had built together. The dog seemed to share his feelings, growling softly whenever Velkari ships passed overhead. On the 15th day of the siege, Hansol and Thunder were working in a remote section of asteroid B7 when their sensors detected incoming ships. 3 small Velkari fighters were approaching fast and there was nowhere to hide on the barren asteroid surface. Looks like they finally decided to target us directly, Hansol said grimly, checking his mining laser. It was not much of a weapon, but it was all he had. Thunder's hackles rose as he smelled the alien scents growing stronger. His enhanced nose could detect the Velkari from much farther away than human sensors could track their ships. The first fighter swooped low, firing plasma bolts that exploded rock formations around Hansol's position. He dove behind his mining equipment, pulling Thunder with him. The dog's enhanced reflexes were faster than Hansol's, and Thunder actually reached. Cover first. Stay down, boy, Hansol ordered as the second fighter made its attack run. But Thunder had different ideas. The loyal dog had been bred and trained to protect his human companion above all else. When he saw muzzle flashes from the third fighter, as it landed nearby, Thunder's protective instincts took over completely. Sub-Commander Kelnex emerged from the landed fighter with 2 other Velkari soldiers. They advanced on Hansol's position with weapons ready, intending to capture or kill the human who had become a symbol of colonial resistance. Thunder launched himself from behind the mining equipment before Hansol could stop him. The massive dog moved with deadly grace, his enhanced muscles propelling him across the asteroid surface faster than the aliens expected. Kelnex raised his plasma rifle and fired directly at Thunder. The alien had grown frustrated with human resistance and wanted to send a message by killing something the humans clearly valued. The plasma bolt struck Thunder in the chest, burning through his thick fur and into his enhanced organs. The weapon was designed to cause maximum suffering, and Thunder fell to the ground with a sound that Hansol would never forget. But Thunder was not finished. Even mortally wounded, the faithful dog continued crawling toward the aliens, determined to protect Hansol until his last breath. Kelnex fired again and again, each shot calculated to prolong Thunder's agony. Finally, Thunder could go no further. He turned his amber eyes toward Hansol one last time, his tail giving the faintest wag. Then the greatest companion, Hansol, had ever known was still. The Velkari retreated to their ships, satisfied that they had broken something precious and irreplaceable. Hansol crawled to Thunder's side, tears streaming down his face as he held his faithful friend. "I'm sorry, boy," he whispered. I'm so sorry I couldn't protect you." Thunder was gone, but Hansel could swear he felt the dog's spirit still present, still loyal, still determined to keep his human safe no matter what the cost. Hansel buried Thunder on a small hill overlooking the mining colony. He chose the spot carefully, a place where Thunder could see all the people and places he had protected during his life. The grave was simple but meaningful, marked with Thunder's favorite toy, a worn synthetic bone they had brought from Earth years ago. For 3 days after the burial, Hansel could barely function. He went through the motions of daily life, but his heart felt empty. Other colonists brought food and offered comfort, but nothing could fill the hole that Thunder's death had left in his life. On the 4th morning, something strange happened. Hansel woke to find his mining tools arranged in perfect order beside his bed. He always left them scattered around his small room, but now they were lined up exactly the way Thunder used to arrange his own toys. "That's odd," Hansel muttered, thinking he must have organized them himself and forgotten. But when he arrived at the mining site that day, his equipment was already running. The drilling machine was working at the exact spot where Thunder would have directed him to dig. The samples it produced were rich with valuable metals, just like the ones Thunder used to find. Hansel stood staring at the machine, confused and a little frightened. No one else had access to his equipment, and he had definitely turned everything off the night before. Over the next week, the strange events continued. Tools moved on their own during the night. Mining equipment operated, with impossible efficiency, finding ore deposits that sensors could not detect. Most unsettling of all, Hansel kept catching glimpses of a large, dark shape moving at the edge of his vision. Other miners began reporting similar experiences. Donghyun claimed he saw a ghostly dog patrolling the corridors late at night. Young Minnie swore she heard familiar barking echoing through the ventilation systems. Even the children spoke of seeing Thunder's spirit playing in the common areas. Park Ji-won was skeptical at first. "Grief can make people see things that are not there," she told Dr. Lee So-young during a private meeting. "The colonists loved Thunder, and they want to believe he is still with us." But Dr. Lee So-young was not so sure. As the colony's chief scientist, she had been studying the reports carefully. "The energy readings around Thunder's grave are highly unusual," she explained, showing Park Ji-won her data. "There are quantum fluctuations that should not exist in normal space." "What does that mean?" Park Ji-won asked. "I think it means Thunder's consciousness has not disappeared completely," Dr. Lee So-young replied. "The genetic modifications that enhanced his body also strengthened his neural pathways. Combined with his powerful emotional bond to Hansel, it may have created a form of quantum entanglement that survives beyond biological death." Park Ji-won stared at the scientific readings. "Are you saying Thunder's ghost is real?" "I'm saying Thunder's spirit may exist in a form we do not fully understand," Dr. Lee So-young answered carefully. "And if that is true, he may still be trying to protect the colony." The proof came during the next Valkyrie attack. A squad of alien soldiers attempted to sabotage the main power generator during the night shift. They had disabled the security cameras and were preparing to plant explosives when something unexpected happened. The Valkyrie soldiers suddenly began screaming in terror. Security guards rushing to investigate found the aliens huddled together, firing their weapons wildly at empty air. Their leader was shouting about a demon beast that had appeared from nowhere and attacked them. When the aliens retreated to their ships, the security team found something amazing. The explosive devices had been carefully dismantled and stacked in a neat pile. The work was precise and intelligent, done by someone who understood both technology and the importance of protecting the power generator. Hansel heard about the incident and felt a familiar warmth in his chest. "Thunder," he whispered to himself. "You are still here, aren't you, boy?" That night, Hansel visited Thunder's grave for the first time since the burial. As he knelt beside the small mound of earth, he felt a presence that was unmistakably his old friend. The air grew warmer, and he heard a soft whine that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "I know you are trying to help," Hansel said aloud, feeling only slightly foolish for talking to empty air. "But I miss you so much. Why can't you rest in peace?" The answer came not in words but in a feeling that filled Hansol's mind. Thunder's spirit was not at peace because his family was still in danger. The loyal dog would not abandon his duty, even in death. Dr. Lee So-young arrived at the gravesite 20 minutes later, carrying a portable scanner and several other scientific instruments. "I thought I might find you here," she said gently. "The energy readings are strongest at this location." As she set up her equipment, the scanner began producing readings unlike anything she had seen before. "The quantum field around this grave is incredibly active," she reported. "It is almost as if Thunder's consciousness is actively engaging with our physical reality." Hansol felt tears running down his face. "He won't leave because he thinks we still need protection." "Maybe we do," Dr. Lee So-young replied, looking at her instruments in amazement. "These readings suggest Thunder has abilities now that he never had in life. His spirit can affect electronic systems, move through solid barriers, and apparently terrify our enemies." Over the following days, Thunder's supernatural activities became more organized and purposeful. Velkari patrols began reporting encounters with a ghostly beast that appeared without warning and vanished just as quickly. Their equipment mysteriously malfunctioned at crucial moments. Guard posts were found empty with no sign of struggle but clear evidence that the aliens had fled in panic. Commander Vextal was growing increasingly frustrated with his subordinates' reports of supernatural encounters. "There are no such things as ghosts," he declared angrily. "Find the human technology that is creating these illusions and destroy it." But Sub-Commander Kel Nex, who had killed Thunder, was becoming genuinely frightened. He had begun experiencing nightmares filled with glowing amber eyes and the sound of approaching paws. During the day, he constantly looked over his shoulder, expecting to see something that should not exist. Thunder's spirit was learning to use his new abilities more effectively. He could phase through walls and appear anywhere on the station, without warning. His ghostly howls echoed through the Velkari ships, causing panic among alien crews who had never encountered anything like this supernatural hunter. The colonists, meanwhile, began to feel hope returning. Their beloved Thunder was still with them, still protecting them, still refusing to let enemies harm his family. Children left small offerings at his grave, and adults spoke his name with gratitude and wonder. Hansol realized that Thunder's death had not ended their partnership. It had transformed it into something deeper and more powerful than either of them had imagined possible. The bond they had shared in life now transcended the boundaries of death itself. Thunder's spirit had work to do, and he would not rest until every enemy who threatened his family had been dealt with permanently. Thunder's spirit had become a force of nature, moving through the asteroid colony like an invisible storm. His supernatural hunt began with the lowest-ranking Velkari soldiers and worked systematically upward through their command structure. 3. First victim was a communications officer named Rixdal, who had helped coordinate the attack that killed Thunder. The alien was found in his sealed quarters aboard the main Velkari ship, with massive claw marks across his chest and terror frozen on his face. The ship's security cameras showed nothing, but the room's air recycling system carried the faint scent of Earth Dog. Commander Vextal ordered an investigation, but his science officer could find no explanation. The ship's hull showed no breach. The door locks had not been tampered with, and no human technology could have caused such an attack. Yet Rixdal was definitely dead, killed by something large and powerful with sharp claws and teeth. 2 days later, Thunder claimed his second victim. A weapons specialist named Keth Knoll was discovered in the ship's armory, surrounded by scattered ammunition and damaged plasma rifles. The alien had apparently tried to fight off his attacker, but nothing could stop Thunder's ghostly assault. Hansol felt each death through his connection with Thunder's spirit. The bond they shared allowed him to sense when Thunder was hunting. Though he could not see exactly what happened, the feelings that came through their link were clear. Thunder was methodically tracking down every alien who had been present during his murder. Dr. Lee So-young worked frantically to understand how Thunder's spirit could interact with the physical world. Her equipment showed massive energy spikes whenever Thunder manifested, but the readings made no scientific sense. The quantum field fluctuations are off the charts, she explained to Hansol during one of their meetings near Thunder's grave. It is as if Thunder's consciousness has learned to manipulate matter at the molecular level. Can you communicate with him? Hansol asked desperately. Can you ask him to stop killing? Dr. Lee So-young looked uncomfortable. I have been trying to modify our mining communication equipment to match Thunder's quantum frequency. In theory, it might be possible to establish limited contact. The breakthrough came 3 days later. Dr. Lee So-young had rigged together a makeshift quantum resonance transmitter using parts from Hansol's mining scanner and the colony's main computer. When she activated the device near Thunder's grave, the results were immediate and startling. The air above the grave shimmered, and for just a moment Thunder's ghostly form became visible. He appeared exactly as he had in life, but translucent and glowing with soft amber light. His intelligent eyes focused on Hansol with unmistakable love and loyalty. Thunder, Hansol whispered, tears streaming down his face. I can see you. Suddenly, ghostly dog's tail wagged once, then he began to fade. But before he disappeared completely, images flooded into Hansol's mind. Thunder was showing him memories of the attack, of Sub-Commander Kelnek standing over his dying body, of the aliens. Cruel laughter as he fired shot after shot into Thunder's wounded form. You want revenge on Kelnek, Hansol realized. You won't rest until you find him. Thunder's spirit sent back a feeling of absolute determination. The hunt would continue until justice was served. Over the next week, Thunder's supernatural campaign escalated dramatically. 3 more Velkari soldiers died in impossible circumstances. One was found in a maintenance shaft that was too small for any human to enter. Another was discovered in the middle of a group of his fellow aliens, killed instantly while surrounded by witnesses who saw nothing, but heard the terrifying sound of ghostly growling. The Velkari morale began to collapse. Soldiers refused to patrol alone, and even groups of aliens huddled together in terror when strange sounds echoed through their ships. Some requested transfers to other missions, claiming the humans had unleashed demonic forces beyond their understanding. Commander Vextal tried to maintain order, but his authority was crumbling. His soldiers were more afraid of Thunder's ghost than they were of his punishments. Reports of supernatural encounters spread through the Velkari fleet like a plague of fear. This is impossible, Commander Vextal raged during an emergency meeting with his remaining officers. Dead animals do not come back to haunt the living. There must be a scientific explanation. Sub-Commander Kelnek said nothing during the meeting, but his hands shook as he gripped his plasma rifle. He had begun seeing amber eyes in every shadow and hearing the sound of approaching paws in every quiet moment. Sleep had become impossible, and he jumped at every unexpected noise. The other Velkari officers had noticed Kelnex's deteriorating condition. Some whispered that he was cursed, marked for death by the vengeful spirit he had created. They began avoiding him, afraid that Thunder's ghost might target anyone who stayed too close to his intended victim. Meanwhile, the human colonists were using Thunder's chaos as an opportunity to fight back. Park Ji-won coordinated with the other mining settlements in the system, organizing supply runs and communication networks while the Velkari were distracted by their supernatural problem. Thunder has given us an advantage we never expected, she told the Colony Council. While the aliens cower in fear, we can prepare our defenses and reach out for help. Young Minay, who worked in communications, managed to send a message to Earth Colonial Command. We have hostile aliens trying to steal our mining rights, she reported, but we also have a guardian spirit protecting us. Send reinforcements, but be prepared for something beyond normal military experience. Hansol spent most of his time near Thunder's grave, maintaining their quantum communication link with Dr. Lee So-young's equipment. Through their connection, he could feel Thunder's determination growing stronger each day. The ghostly dog was close to finding his primary target. Thunder's enhanced senses, now freed from the limitations of physical form, could track individual scents across vast distances. He had identified Sub-Commander Kelnex's unique chemical signature and was following the trail with supernatural patience and precision. The hunt was almost over. Thunder had worked his way through the lower ranks of aliens who had participated in his murder, and now only Kelnex remained. The sub-commander had tried hiding in the most secure areas of the Velkari fleet, but walls and locked doors meant nothing to a spirit driven by absolute loyalty and burning desire for justice. Hansol felt Thunder's anticipation through their bond. Soon, very soon, the faithful dog would face the alien who had caused so much pain and suffering. And when that confrontation came, Kelnex would learn that some bonds are stronger than death itself. The ghostly howl that echoed through the Velkari ships that night was filled with promise and threat. Thunder was coming, and no force in the universe could stop him from completing his final mission. Sub-Commander Kelnex had not slept in 4 days. Every time he closed his compound eyes, he saw the massive Earth-Hound he had murdered, amber eyes burning with supernatural fury. The alien's hands shook constantly now, and he jumped at every shadow that moved through the corridors of the Velkari command ship. He had barricaded himself in the ship's most secure chamber, deep in the armored core where even the human's most powerful weapons could not reach him. The room had no windows, 3 sets of locked doors, and enough supplies to last for weeks. Kelnex convinced himself he was finally safe from the ghostly hunter that had been stalking him. But Thunder's spirit did not need doors or walls. The loyal dog's consciousness existed beyond the physical laws that trapped living beings. As midnight approached on the space station's artificial clock, the temperature in Kelnex's hiding place began to drop. The alien noticed the change first, as frost forming on his breathing apparatus. Then came the sound he had been dreading for weeks, the soft click of claws on metal flooring. But there was nothing visible in the sealed chamber, nothing that could explain the noise that grew closer with each passing second. Kelnex raised his plasma rifle with trembling hands, firing wildly at empty air. The energy bolt struck the walls and ceiling, but found no target. The sound of approaching paws continued steadily, circling the terrified alien like a predator toying with wounded prey. "Show yourself, demon," Kelnex screamed in his own language. "Face me like a warrior, not a coward hiding in shadows." Thunder materialized slowly, his ghostly form growing more solid with each second. The spectral dog was magnificent and terrible, larger than he had been in life, with eyes that burned like twin stars. His hackles were raised, and his lips pulled, back to reveal fangs that gleamed with supernatural light. For a moment, neither moved. Kelnex stared into the face of the creature he had tortured and killed, while Thunder gazed at the alien who had caused so much pain and suffering. The air between them crackled with energy that made the metal walls hum. Then Thunder attacked. The ghostly dog moved faster than anything living, his spirit form passing through Kelnex's plasma rifle as if it were made of smoke. But when Thunder's claws and teeth made contact with alien flesh, they became as solid and deadly as steel. Kelnex's screams echoed through the Velkari ship as Thunder gave him exactly the same prolonged, agonizing death that the alien had inflicted on the loyal dog. Justice was not quick or merciful. It was thorough and complete. When Thunder finally allowed Kelnex to die, the ghostly dog sat back on his haunches and let out a long, mournful howl. The sound carried through every level of every Velkari ship, a cry of triumph mixed with deep sadness that chilled alien blood and brought tears to human eyes. Back on New Busan, Hansol felt Thunder's emotions through their quantum link. The hunt was finished, but the victory felt hollow. Thunder's spirit was tired now, ready to rest but still bound by his unbreakable loyalty to his human family. Commander Vextal found Kelnex's body 3 hours later. The sight of his second-in-command's remains, combined with weeks of supernatural terror, finally broke the alien leader's resolve. He had lost over a dozen soldiers to an enemy that could not be fought with conventional weapons, and his remaining troops were on the verge of mutiny. "All ships prepare for immediate departure," he ordered over the fleet communication system. "We are abandoning this operation." "Sir," his communications officer asked hesitantly, "what about the mining rights, the extracted materials?" "Commander," Vextal's mandibles clicked nervously. "Mark this system as spiritually contaminated in our records. No Velkari vessel will return here under any circumstances. Some prizes are not worth the cost." As the alien fleet prepared to leave, Thunder's spirit appeared one final time at Hansol's side. The man was standing near Thunder's grave, watching the Velkari ships power up their engines in the distance. Dr. Lee So-young had her quantum communication equipment running, allowing Han Sol to see his faithful companion clearly. Thunder looked different now. The anger and need for revenge were gone, replaced by the peaceful contentment Han Sol remembered from their quiet moments together during life. The ghostly dog's tail wagged slowly as he gazed at his human with pure love. "You did it, boy," Han Sol whispered, kneeling down to touch the space where Thunder's spirit stood. His hand passed through empty air, but he felt warmth where Thunder's fur should have been. "You kept us all safe." Thunder's spirit sent feelings of satisfaction and completion through their bond. His mission was finished. The family he had sworn to protect was no longer in danger, but instead of fading away, Thunder settled down beside his grave, looking out over the colony with alert, protective eyes. "You are not leaving, are you?" Han Sol realized. The ghostly dog's response was clear. As long as Han Sol and the colonists, called New Busan home, Thunder would remain their guardian. Death had not broken his loyalty. It had made that loyalty eternal. Word of Thunder's supernatural protection spread quickly through human space. Other colonies began requesting that Han Sol and Dr. Lee So-young share their quantum communication technology. Some settlements reported their own stories of beloved animal companions whose spirits lingered to protect their human families. The colonists of New Busan established the Thunder Protocol, a formal agreement that no companion animal would ever be forgotten or abandoned. Thunder's grave became a shrine where people brought offerings and told stories of faithful pets who had given their lives for human friends. Park Ji-won officially named Han Sol as the colony's head of security, recognizing that his unique connection to Thunder made him the ideal person to coordinate their defenses. The position came with a small house overlooking Thunder's grave, where Han Sol could maintain their communication link. 6 months later, a new transport ship arrived carrying families who wanted to join the famous colony protected by a ghostly guardian. Among the passengers were dozens of children with their own enhanced animal companions, dogs and cats, and even a few exotic species that had been modified for space travel. Han Sol watched the new arrivals with satisfaction, Thunder's spirit sitting invisibly beside him. The colony was growing stronger, and future generations would grow up knowing they were protected by loyalty that transcended death itself. That evening, as Han Sol placed fresh flowers on Thunder's grave, he felt a familiar presence brush against his mind. Thunder's spirit was content, surrounded by the family he had died to protect and would guard forever. The bond between human and dog, forged in the stars and strengthened by sacrifice, had become something greater than either of them could have imagined. Thunder had found his eternal purpose, and Han Sol had learned that true loyalty knows no boundaries, not even death. In the distance, alien ships gave the new Busan system a wide berth, their crews whispering stories of the ghostly Hound who refused to let his family come to harm.